This is just a quick question for the Defense Minister or the Chief of Defense as it pertains to Skidstrop. Our whole air defense is almost entirely stationed in Skidstrop. Our costly F-35 jets are just stationed there. How can you justify that?
If you can pass over that area without shooting it down, how is that possible?
Chief of Defense, if you could give us some initial movements.
We were actually quite ready to proceed with that particular action as well, but ultimately decided not to do so just yesterday.
Why exactly?
It was an overall assessment of the situation, considering accuracy, and when you shoot something into the air, something also comes back down.
Then the safety of
those around it, and I
think it's important to say that the Chief of Defense has given authorization, also based on the law that has come into effect in the Ministry of Defense's area, that the Chief of Defense has authorized that if there is a need, and it is assessed that this is what is required, then it is possible to shoot down drones. It is then a military professional assessment whether or not to use that tool.
There's definitely something out there. Something's happening down there.
According to Ekstrabladet's information, a Russian warship with a turned-off AIS transmitter has been in international waters between Lolland and Langeland for several days, and it needs to be investigated.
In an attempt to find out what kind of ship it is, we have gotten hold of a helicopter, and now we will try to fly out and find out what it really is.
The ship we are looking for is called Alexander Chapolin, and it is a Russian landing ship, meaning a vessel designed to deploy troops and equipment ashore along the coast.
There's something out there, at least. It's quite clear. So maybe we should just try to take a look at it.
The ship is part of Russia's Baltic Fleet, based in Kaliningrad, but now, according to Ekstrabladet's information, it has been stationary in international waters between Langeland and Lolland for several days. We flew out to the ship's location, and there was LID.
So, we have apparently found the Russian ship. It has the same number as the ship we are looking for.
Something is definitely happening down there.
Yes, it certainly doesn't.
It's moving now. Apparently, after being stationary for a few days, it's now sailing away, and we're actually flying right over or around the ship, and they must have definitely seen us by now. Was the ship actually called up to you?
I don't think it calls for that. I also don't think they have listened. I shouldn't allow that.
The ship Alexander Chapolin is number 110, painted in large white letters on the side, which normally has its home base in Kolding, which you can look up, has been lying here between Langeland and Lolland. It has been lying there for several days, stationary. But just as we come out now, soon we could see that the ship had clearly started the engine and was on its way away. Yeah, whether it is our arrival at the place that makes them leave, it is unclear. But in any case, has the ship been with all its systems regarding identification and others' ability to identify the ship? Has everything been turned off out here?
We do not know what Alexander Chapolin has been doing while it has been stationary, but the ship is interesting because already when drones closed Copenhagen airport on Monday, the police and military analysts began to speculate that it could be a ship that was a base for the drone activity. Ekstrabladet has contacted the defense about the ship, but they have not responded before our deadline.
Ekstrabladet has revealed this evening that there has been a Russian warship, specifically Alexander Chapolin, which has been lying 12 kilometers off the coast of Langeland for several days while all this has been happening. Can you deny that it has played a role?
We cannot comment on the very specific stage of the investigation, but what we can say is, of course, that ship data and mapping of ship traffic in Danish waters have, of course, been carried out as one of the very first steps as part of this effort.
But have you been aware that it has been a Russian warship which has been lying 12 kilometers off the coast of Langeland for several days, according to our information?
It is my impression that the investigation is progressing well when it comes to which foreign vessels are in Danish waters.
And just to conclude, is it part of the investigation?
It is part of the investigation, yes. We can just return to how this first question I mentioned before. Where do the drones come from? They can come from different places, they can come from far away, but they can also come from closer by. They can be set up by proxy, as we call it. So an external adversary operating from within, that is of course also one of the scenarios the investigation is working with.
If Ekstrabladet's information is correct and the drones may have been launched from a Russian ship or another ship, what options do you have for conducting an investigation? Boarding the ship?
Maritime rules and the legal rules that apply in the Danish belts and straits are of course rules that we know and can operate with, and that our action forces can also operate with if we have the necessary basis. We have not had the necessary basis at this time to board foreign ships in Danish waters.
What is needed to provide the necessary basis?
There must be a suspicion, a concrete suspicion that one is behind serious activity on Danish soil.
Dear all, recently Denmark has faced hybrid threats. Drones have appeared near critical infrastructure, both military and civilian. We can expect more such attacks. These attacks reveal vulnerabilities and aim to create insecurity and division. These are attacks that will shake us as people and as a society. I understand that the situation raises many questions. Why haven't drones been shot down, and why weren't they detected earlier? And there will come a time when we have to look back at the events of the last few days and learn from them. But right now, we as a government and authorities have one overriding task, and that is to keep Denmark safe. And this will enable us to more effectively counter hybrid attacks as swiftly as possible. So, where do we stand now? To begin with, the authorities have increased the level of preparedness. They are also getting ready for various possible scenarios.